this is a very unique time because I feel cricket has been weaponized. BCCI has just become a party unit of the BJP. And the minister said, please cancel the tour. So Dalmia told him, sir, I am the president of the BCCI and I want the cricket to happen. You don't want the cricket to happen, you stop it. And he put the phone down. This will never happen now. Why, for example, did not the coach and the captain in that Asia Cup tell whoever instructed them, boss, you cannot put pressure on the team like this by saying don't shake hands. Even those players who may be supporting the ruling party, as cricketers, they said that is not what you do on a field.
This is the conversation with Sharda Ugra. She's one of the top sports journalists in India who has worked for Cricinfo, Midday, India Today, and The Hindu. She's popularly known for her writings on cricket. She was one of the first women sports journalists in the country and is a legitimate veteran of the game. In this conversation, we talk about her journey falling in love with cricket, with journalism. She conducts a short masterclass into how do you become a good journalist, how do you write well, what are the different techniques that can work. We explore the influence of cricket in shaping the culture of a country. What purpose does cricket serve? Does it just exist to make money, or is there a deeper purpose? And then we also explore the influence of politics, corruption, and money in Indian cricket. All the fun topics. And now, it's no time.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
In the fictional novel Centurion, Professor Ramesh Tendulkar writes a poem for his son where he says, perhaps, maybe because of you, but cricket to me, dear Sachin, is no more a game but a poem, a lyrical poem. Intensity, concentration, spontaneity, moods and tensions and form, rhythm and movement and composition, and flashes of imagination and genius. When the strokes go across the boundaries and running through all that string of uncertainty, hanging all the time, making moment of every movement, a creative moment and a challenge. What else can all this be if not a lyric on the playground?
I mean, that is just, fantastic.
Yeah, Professor Ramesh Tendulkar knows his poetry.
And he wrote this in original Marathi, which I still want to read.
One day. You grew up in Bhandup in the suburbs of Bombay playing lots of sports, not just cricket. Your mother was a writer and translator. Your great-grand-uncle has been an Urdu poet. You grew up reading a lot of books, but interestingly, your brother, who was exposed to the same lineage and the same environment, went in the opposite direction. He became a banker. So I want to start here. When you look back now, why do you think you gravitated towards cricket? Was it just the environment you grew up in, or do you think there are deeper reasons why cricket was so appealing?
If I look at it very, very simply, Chalaj, I think 1983 I was 11. I wasn't 11. My maths is absolutely off. I was born in 68. I couldn't have been 11. I was 13.
You were some age.
I was some age. Yeah, I was in school. Yeah, I was a junior.
You were alive during 1983.
I was alive in 1983. And I did play sport because my dad also played sport. But he played like serious university sport. And I was just absolutely shit at everything. But I played it. So he'd wrestled, he played kabaddi, he played cricket, So he was a sports man in Allahabad and Lucknow and all those places, and he was always interested in it. So we would watch, and I don't remember where. It's like an osmosis thing that people the environment around you is responding to sport, and so and then when 83 happened, it became part of this larger sort of universe that I was in. I was like fully immersed in it. And I used to take down scores. What is the purpose of taking down scores from the paper in a notebook? But I used to do that. And I have that notebook still with me because India won that.
Documentation, no?
Documentation. Then papers will have it. So I was drawn to cricket as a sport because, of course, you could play it. And I think now when I look back, that cricket had a space for all types and sizes at that time also. You could be various levels, good and great and average, but they'll need you because you needed to be the fielder kind of thing. And that was my awqat was that only. So I think it was that. And strangely enough, at school, they encouraged me because of my height to try and play basketball. I was too lazy. I don't know what it was. I'm thinking, I'm trying to blame the teachers. It's not really their fault. It's you. You don't respond. Why did I respond to or discuss other kind of things they wanted me to do? Discuss, shot put, throw. Obviously, a sports teacher look at a tall girl. Please make her play all these power sports and all that. Let her do. Don't waste her time on running. She's not going to be fast. So cricket, I don't know, because kids around me were playing it and I was in it as well. And then, so did it start because of 83? Did I start playing cricket? No, I was playing it earlier also. It was Gavaskar, Kapil Dev stories. We used to listen to radio commentary. I remember 1979 when the Pakistani team came to India. So I remember that series very, very clearly. That's the oldest, like clearest memory.
Also
I
in the
have.
rise of Kapil Dev.
And that's when I was 10. So 11. That's the age, yeah. So I remember and the rise of Kapil Dev, and that time. And then you were playing, and then 83 happened. So it just became like this big sort of thing that drew me into it, and then because we'd had the 1982 Asian Games, television started coming into our life in that sense, and the whole sort of, you did get access to see sport live. Very little, but at that time it seemed like we watched Borg and McEnroe Wimbledon finals live. We saw that 81, 80, 81. So that's how sports was always there or thereabouts.
But what's interesting is your brother was also exposed to the exact same environment, but didn't gravitate towards it.
But he's a different personality. My brother is a very different personality to me. So if anyone meets my brother, they're surprised that we're siblings, because he's a much quieter and a much more reasoned and a much more... My brother played chess. And I was so bad at it. I didn't have the temperament for it.
कैसे sport में googly नहीं है, spin नहीं होता, क्या बात है?
And he's 4.5 years younger than me. And he had that sort of methodical mind. And, he has that kind of way of working and everything. And of course, he used to beat me in some 3 moves. The game was over and I would knock the pawns off and walk away. I mean, I didn't have the attention to sit down and really focus on that particular sport, a sport, game, whatever you call it.
Yeah,
so
it's a grey area.
That's why, that is a grey area.
I want to explore this further a bit because how important are first impressions in sport? I had interviewed Osman Samyuddin on this show, your former colleague at Cricinfo, and he had said that his
My current
father...
friend, always.
And current, long time, eternal friend.
Eternal.
He had said that his father never got into cricket because the first and only match that he watched live was his test match in Dhaka, where Hanif Mohammad just batted the entire day.
Oh dear.
And his father came out thinking cricket is such a massive waste of my time. Osman, on the other hand, he said his introduction to cricket was the Pakistan tour of India in 86-87. You just mentioned that in a way your introduction to cricket is in 79 with the rise of Kapil Dev. So how important are your first impressions? Do you think the way you're introduced to a sport decides whether you'll actually like it or not? Or do you think cricket fans are kindred spirits? It doesn't matter how I'm introduced. Whatever I watch, I will find something compelling about it and I'll be engaged.
Ruhani, if you are meant to be a cricket fan, destiny types. Even if I know people that are in Germany who are following cricket, some strange Germans or something draws you to it. And it started with it being, I think, maybe Test cricket, the longer format, the great Mike Marquez's story about how he's found it as the absolute opposite to what American sport was. You are drawn to it, to the storytelling maybe. And now I'm thinking, what will people get? Why will people watch cricket now? They'll watch it for 2020, for the sixes. But I'm thinking, whatever it is, as big as the community, it's fine. Just come. Just be here with us.
You're born interested or you can acquire it?
I think you can acquire it. I think there are people that really acquire it in a way. I have a friend that has very, in a determined manner, got from the age of, I think, about 11 or even earlier, maybe, I think 8, 9, got our friend's son was tied into Test cricket, like from there. And now he can finish reading books
and his name is Yuvraj Singh. No.
Yeah. So he doesn't play. He's quite an average player, but that he can do. That he plays, but he's not. He's sort of a bit of a dreamer and whatever. So he's not like one of those. I am focused and I'm going to. But he loves the game, to watch, to follow, to play it in an average way, kind of a thing. How important are first impressions? I think your environment around you is important. Why didn't my brother do it? Because he just has a different... He has no interest in sports. He has completely different personality.
So even in the same environment, it's how you are as a person, right?
Yeah, I think it might be DNA. Because he has my mother's characteristics, and my mother was not an athletic child in her youth. So maybe it's that. I don't know. There's no knowing actually.
In the book, Beyond a Boundary, CLR James asked the question, what do they know of cricket, who only cricket know? I love asking this question to everyone, but how tight is the coupling between cricket and the evolution of culture or the zeitgeist? You've written in the past that multiple new Indias have emerged through cricket in the early 70s with the emergence of Sunil Gavaskar and the spin quartet. then with Kapil Dev in 83, then the era of Saurav Ganguly, then Dhoni and Virat Kohli. And when I spoke with Jared Kimber, who's also been on the show, he mentioned that W.G. Grace, he viewed W.G. Grace himself was like an embodiment of England at that time. And then he viewed Victor Trumper as his likely successor and not Jack Hobbs, who was the better player at that time, because he thought Victor Trumper is a better reflection of what the Australian spirit or the Australian youth is. So how tightly coupled is it? Is cricket, because many people keep dismissing cricket as a silly sport, especially in India, or just people running behind a ball, hitting a ball with stick. How important is it? Does it actually shape the culture and the zeitgeist?
Because cricket is now the biggest sport in India, and the biggest sort of pop cultural phenomenon outside of cinema, let's say, it does sort of affect now many things, not just the zeitgeist in the sense of what you are getting by way of information, by way of messaging, all of that, because you're living in a different age than, say, when I was growing up. When I was talking about Gavaskar, I remember in the 70s when I grew up listening to commentary thing, and it was very much part of your, it became, I remember listening to commentary in 81 when India was playing in Australia. And my mom, I've said this before, my mom woke me up in the morning and she said, we had to go to school, get up in the morning to go to school. She says, get up, it's time to get up, Ujja, Gavaskar's out. I'm supposed to live after this. I'm supposed to have a life after this. Then get ready and go to school after this. What is this nonsense, And then you read the papers the next day and you hear what happened. And what. I remember that so clearly. Get up, Gavaskar's out. Next day, we are playing a match against New Zealand or something. Again, some bizarre time. So get up, they're still batting. So there was some New Zealand openers were batting like forever. My zeitgeist at the time as a child was these sort of sources of
it was embedded in your environment.
It was there, yeah. And now it's like you can't escape cricket when you grow up, So you want to know, there'll be people who'll be trying to fob it off and push it away and everything. How does it shape? I think it definitely shapes discussion, talk, conversation. And I think liberalization, the onset of liberalization in India had very much to do, it ran alongside cricket, Cricket was not used in a very deliberate way to project anything. It just happened. The rise of Tendulkar was a succession to, let's say, 83. I mean, Tendulkar's arrival was the succession to 83. Tendulkar's rise and his career was a succession to Virat Kohli and the IPL. And then we are now seeing so that's how you're seeing the play, the entire sort of passage of time play across not just the sport, but across the country, and the kinds of people that respond to it, and the massive democratization of cricket that there's been, which to my mind is the most wonderful thing I've seen happen, which is just suddenly it's become from an urban sport, it's become a sport of the masses and everywhere that you can get it. And I remember doing a piece in India Today about these small town cricketers that came first. And everybody said, oh, it's MS Dhoni. It's not MS Dhoni. It's that generation before him. That was Shiv Sundar Das, Mohammad Kaif, Harbhajan Singh, Harvinder Singh, all these guys that were there. MSK Prasad, who came from Guntur. All these were and they were the result of satellite television. They were the kids that came out of that. Because they could see Zahir Khan was following copying bowling actions in his Godrej cupboard at home after having watched it on TV. He came from Sri Rampur near Shirdi. So that's India changing, that's cricket changing, and then there's sort of there's an interplay that's on at the moment. Yeah,
there's an interesting open question here where some of these people were just inevitable, whether Virat Kohli is just an embodiment of what the zeitgeist was, like he's a mirror of it, or whether he was at the helm shaping the zeitgeist, whatever he was doing was actually becoming the culture.
I once did an interview with Nasir Hussain, the only interview I've done with Nasir Hussain actually, where he said that it's literally like captains sort of fit into the teams and they sort of reflect captains become the answer to what the team needs at that time. So it becomes, if at one time you had Ganguly going absolutely all on after match fixing and everything, and which for us was like, Arey, who is this person? Following him was Dhoni, who was the complete opposite. Then following him was Virat Kohli. So you've got this churn that's happening, and it's a churn of personality. It's a churn of the teams probably had too much of the aggro and too much of the coolness and too much of the whatever, and it just keeps. So
there's the larger forces that are actually shaping the people. It's not the people who are.
I mean, I don't know whether it's for people shaping the forces. It sounds like there's the deep state in cricket that's working. No, I mean, I think it's just
like structure and agency, right?
It's like some physics type of thing is happening there. I mean, it's just like cricket might have its own sort of physics kind of universe where. Who have we got now? We've got Shubman Gill, who is absolutely chill. He's not Kohli. He's a two-format captain. Surya is, of course, another level. But we've got a different... So you've seen that whole thing you've seen the whole sort of change that's coming, and it just turns around. That you find that kind of person, whether it's selectors picking the person or that person finds his way. It's nice to say that the person finds his way, but someone has to say him. Say too much of this him. So that's what happens, and then you change the way the team plays. But at the same time, the greatest thing about Shubman Gill was in that series in England when he just had an absolute go. Crow, a pair. And we were like, yes.
Zach Crawley.
Yeah. He was like, okay.
That's not what we expected.
Yeah, he's not good. Yeah, that's not what we expected. He's not going to be good, clean-shaven boy. He's good, clean-shaven boy with a mouth.
What's interesting, like Shubman Gill couldn't have become captain in to the early 2000s, right? There's no way he would have fit in. Yeah.
No way. I mean, and can you... So, Anil Kumble was a captain for a very short period of time. But it almost seemed like it was destined that he's the guy when that whole Monkey Gate thing happened. Had there been Saurav Ganguly in Monkey Gate, they would have been like...
Chaos.
Indian Navy would have been heading off to Australia. I don't know. I mean, I'm just exaggerating. But you know what I mean? He was just the guy who was there like, okay, everybody, calm down. I've got this. And he said, thank God it's him. Thank God it's not anybody else. Whatever.
One of the most mature handlings of any incident, I think Anil Kumble, the press conference that he gave.
Honestly. And he's always like that. He's just deadpan. He's like, everybody... don't get excited, relax, Not relax, don't get excited, behave yourself, I'm here. Yeah.
Definitely one of the most understated cricketers, the way he played cricket, the way he was off the field, on the field, always the same. Okay, let's pivot and talk a bit about sports journalism. Assume I'm a student and I've come to learn from you today. This is a masterclass you're giving me. A 101 masterclass for dummies.
How much time do you have?
Poore din. This is the long form format. You will regret this. Okay, so what I wanted to really explore is you've said that oftentimes you felt like an outsider on multiple levels.
Yes.
And what I really want to explore is how these different aspects have contributed towards your writing, whether it's helped you become a better writer, how it's made you different. First, let's start with your stint at the Midday. And you've said that because this was...
I'm so happy I've done all this research. I'm so impressed.
मैं नहीं करता ये सब. मैं तो outsource करता रहता हूँ ये सब. AI मुझे बोलता है. मैं तो ना time नहीं है मेरे पास ये सब चीजें. So you said that because the Midday was a publication that published later in the day, you were often trained to look at a story from a different perspective.
Only trained to look at a story.
Only trained.
There was no other training that you got. You just got that.
That's the training. That's what because most of the factual reporting has already been done by the morning papers. So first I want to dive into how important is training this muscle. Do you think every writer needs to have a stint like this so that you can build that approach towards writing? Or do you think it can also backfire because then you're always trying to be different, you're missing the most obvious story or the most obvious facts as well?
I was fortunate in many ways that I joined an organization like Midday because it was a tabloid to start with. So it's anyway starting from a position of irreverence of anything, And they had a page 3 picture of a girl and everyone used to get angry. But it wasn't like nude, but page 3 picture tha. So, but they had so many women in that organization that I had 2 female colleagues join the sports department after me, Himal Asher and Prajwal Hegde.
But you were one of the first.
I was the first.
First.
So I was like at one point I was the department. I was the writer, the editor, the chai wala, whatever. No, there was a very sweet chai wala who used to come and give us chai. Gunny, his name was, bless him. So it almost seems now prophetic because it gave us training, all of us who worked in Midday, me, Prajwal, who's still at Times of India, and Himal, who's still at Midday, gave us training for the time that was going to come. We weren't being trained for yesterday, we were being trained for tomorrow. Because then you had suddenly the internet and you had television and you had everything. And you had to have like these skills that were there. It doesn't leave you. And then I joined the Hindu, which was like a boot camp. Not boot camp, it's not fair.
The Hindu was a boot camp.
No, the Hindu was not a boot camp. The Hindu was like basic training in being a reporter, going to match, sitting in match. You are in Valsad, you are in Surat, you are in Ahmedabad. You have to be there when the first ball is bowled. Do not ever miss that. Shame on you. You have to file the scorecard. Filing the scorecard to me was trauma because I'm very sloppy with numbers. And your scorecard then became the scorecard of record in the Hindu. So that was like a big thing. So when whatever the scorer gave you, you take it down. They read it out actually. They'll actually read it out at the end of the day, bowling figures and everything. Extras, and you have to add it up. And I actually used to go with a calculator and tally and send. So
today's kids won't know.
Yeah, today's kids will say, what? What is this?
This is your version of मैं 7 kilometer कल जाके school गई थी.
Yeah, this is my version of that. Studying under lamplight. Yeah. So that was very good training in knowing this. And in a way, it always also gave me a chance to explore all the absolute what I call the undercarriage of Indian cricket in that sense. Of you're looking at Ranji Trophy, scorers, players, officials, coaches. You get to meet all these people that are there. And that was great because superb training it was. But it was just, you're just writing match reports in the morning. You have to file by X time and whatever. So by the time I had done about 10 years, I had both these things behind me. I had the two skills of writing the different story and writing the sort of standard story that you have to do. Now what happens in journalism is, when kids come into it, we don't want you to write the match report because you're going to get it in any form. The AI machine will give it to you. Look at something else. You come into this profession with so much of knowledge already accessible. So you don't have to almost think on behalf of it. You have to just see the game differently. And I think in a way the thing about sports journalism is, I feel that it really tests you as to whether you love the sport or whether you love the sports star, whether you love the athlete. And then you discover, because people get all of Indian sport is very frustrating, it's problematic, it's depressing. But if you're still at it, and I know there are people that are still, I'm still at it, we are like deeds, we're not going anywhere, boss. We will still be there. So it's that's what it'll teach you. And a lot of, I think what journalists need, who want their bylines in papers, who want to be known, even maybe seen on television later, is what I call ragda. You need to do basic stuff first. We are not going to tell you, so go and write a piece. Now you need to do it differently because you are in this age of constant over-information. I don't need to know what Harmanpreet felt when she won the World Cup because I've got 20,000 Instagram posts and ICC reels and BCCI reels. It's all there. I need to find something else to do. You need to find either tell the story in a different way. What that way is, I don't know. Or find something else to write about. Look for something else to write about, which is harder in a way, but in a way it's more fun. It's more relaxed in that sense.
In your article, It's a Living Thing, you had mentioned that the real journalism actually begins when you're covering all of these sports in the domestic circuits, because the big events are anyway being covered, right? That's when you really find out your passion for it. We were talking about introductions to sport. How about introductions to sports journalism? Now, anyone who's going to start is going to be introduced to the digital world, whereas you were trained in a world where if there's no space, physically, if there's no space, piche se kaato, right?
Piche se kaato, yeah.
Now there's a whole tendency where someone's writing, okay, first two paragraphs about birds and bees, and then third paragraph is where
so that was India Today training. In India, who told me? I think Brijnath told me, or who told me this? He said that I was told by the third, whatever you write in the first two paragraphs, you write. Okay. By the third paragraph, you have to tell me your story concise in this number of words. What's the point? Yeah. Why should I go beyond this paragraph? That's what you have to do. The other thing that I think maybe sports journalists of today are really feeling the dearth of and the paucity of are really good copy editors. Because your copy editors, if you have good copy editors, I had a kick-ass team of copy editors at India Today. They were so good. Very good team at Cricinfo where I worked. And in Hindu, the trick used to be that if I filed a match report one day and something of mine got edited, I knew which kind of copy, who was there on duty. So I knew that I don't waste your time writing fancy things. Just write the match report page though. Don't waste your time being ultra creative. It's going to get cut. So I think that's what kids are missing in the sense. The younger reporters.
But what about the physical real estate versus the digital? Because now you can just write anything, however long it can be on the internet. Whereas in the physical paper, you have space.
Yeah, exactly. We keep getting told people don't want to read more than 800 words. Or they want to read then 3,000, 17,000 words.
Like a monthly,
Something like that, which is like, bhai, now what do we do if there's a match report or whatever you're trying to. Now the match report itself is redundant because somebody else is doing it for you. If it's your duty. So I had a great time at Cricinfo once that I did whatever I had to do. I used to go and cover matches and write the story and whatever. And once I got told you have to file, and I was slow. I was a slow reporter. When I was working for Hindu, it was a physical deadline. You had to match it. That's it. In Cricinfo, I used to take 5 hours to send copy, which is like ridiculous. But now I don't think they would have allowed. Then it was down to 2 hours at one point, which is good. But then I was told to do. It used to be called. It's either the match report or something. It was the immediate take you had to write. So I was sitting in Noida and watching an India versus New Zealand test match or something. And I sent it, and about half an hour later, and the guy at the copy desk says, "Boss, you have to send it in 5 minutes." what is this? I said, sorry, mistake. And then I did that match, whatever thing for the day. And I enjoy doing it because it just keeps you sharp and it keeps you attentive and everything. It was good. I think that discipline in writing will come also if you have an editor there to tell you, this is bakwas. Please go and write it again.
More important now because there's no physical capacity.
Correct. Like stop
threshold,
it.
Right?
Yeah. And
you can just go on and
you
on.
can just keep like
pontificating
on anything. Yeah. You can. I mean, cricket for a great desk, a super top quality desk. But a lot of younger reporters now, they don't have those kind of people behind them. You need those people. You really need those people. They are just valuable. And they'll actually make your story come to life. They'll give it a great headline. They'll give it a good display. And you'll say, wow. And they'll just make a few tweaks in your story and say this and that. I hate being edited, by the way. I'm speaking so nicely about copy editing.
I'm giving you so much respect.
With them. I so much respect. No, but I really appreciate the work that they do because they are the best training that you can get as a young reporter if you're starting out. You need someone to be almost like a neutral X-ray. What is a neutral X-ray? What is a stupid phrase? You need someone to be...
Because there are polarized X-rays.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah. No, you need someone to be that MRI machine that looks at their copy and says, this is...
Some form of filter.
Fix it. Yeah, you need a filter.
Biases
Yeah. Fix your bias. Fix your wandering around. Fix your unnecessary adjectives, your mixed metaphors. All those things you need. So then you just train yourself in that way. So that was my India Today training, where we had an editor called Raj Chengappa, who's now boss of India Today. He was like the managing editor. He looked after my stuff. He looked after back of the book, what they called. And you file a story, it's 1:00 at night, and he'll be sitting and checking the page proofs that come. And this happened once a week every time. And he'll say, what is this particular point? Did he not say this? Or how can you say this if you did not say that? So I'm saying, so I had to actually basically Chengu proof my copy. I had to make it Chengu proof. So the stuff that you did, you ended up doing about 3 times more, getting 3 times more information than you actually put out. So that was my training, that you had to just get so much information that he cannot ask you at 4:00 in the morning to tell you what height was that man. It's there. Yeah, what height was that girl? What did she eat for breakfast? That also is there.
That all you need to know.
Yeah, that all you need to know.
One challenge for aspiring journalists like me who are just starting out now is the landscape of sports journalism and media has changed so much. You come from a world where if you wanted to get an interview with a cricketer, you could have left a message at the hotel, you would have got it. You could have faxed Sachin and you could have gotten an interview.
Respectful facts, as I call it.
Respectful facts.
Always respectful facts.
Because back then there was at least an understanding, there was a respect for the media and there was an understanding that the media is important. We need them to cement our legacy, build a legend of sorts, and there's a mutually beneficial relationship. Now, as Sanjay
just
Manjrekar...
nuisances.
Yeah, now Sanjay Manjrekar said there's like a Bollywoodization of cricket
That
players.
was just a great observation. I thought it just made complete sense when he said
now.
it.
Because cricketers now travel with their own entourages, media managers, PR teams.
Male cricketers. What you see, what happened with the women's team when they responded in that way to everybody around them. They let reporters touch the World Cup, see them medal. They didn't they gave it to them. They said, you are also in this. That sense of community, that's still there in the women's game.
Which, with time, I'm interested to see whether they will go in that direction.
I know. I was thinking about it. I said, let's see. Because women think differently. So,
well, I hope it continues that way. But yeah, I'm starting out as a new reporter. Now, access to players is so limited. In a way, there's a lack of respect, acknowledgement that the previous players had about building their legacy or the relationship.
That you're all involved in it together. You're in it together. You all love the game and they are very good at playing it. You're very good at writing about that.
You need someone to document what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think it's going to work now? Do you think this is just a minor blip and it is important to have access to players in order to be a good journalist? Or do you think this is just how the times have evolved? Now we have to adapt around it. We can't go back to what it was.
I think you can't go back. I mean, with the women, and you can't go back with ultra uber superstar players. It's very tough. I mean, if it'll be football players in England, it'll be cricket players in India, it'll be NFL players in America, it'll be whatever else in Australia. But they're mostly these high-earning kind of sports stars. Not your athletes that are there in Olympic sports, or say swimmers or runners or whatever. That will be slightly different. That's a very different sort of... Yesterday, I went to attend the wedding reception of the Indian women's hockey team captain, former captain Rani Rampal. And she said, you have to come. But I also attended, I have to say, they're not showing off. I was also invited and attended, I was invited to the weddings of Rahul Dravid, VVS Lakshman, Virendra Sehwag, and Sachin Tendulkar. But that's not going to happen now. Unfortunately, the reporter...
Shubman Gill is not inviting.
He's not inviting me to never. Yeah.
Why? What have you done?
No. I have no equation in that sense with
If Zach Crowley gets invited and you don't get invited,
oh
then,
my God.
then it would be, then it would
a
hurt,
big
I think.
insult. Yeah. No. I mean, he doesn't know me at all. He doesn't know me from the tree. So it's and when I say this to people in England, they say, wow, did this really happen? And all. Even though in England they have a very formal and they have a very courteous sort of relationship with their cricketers. But their cricketers are not like uber superstars, I think we have to get used to what it is because the sport has changed. There's been a great amount of maybe it's the professionalization, commercialization of the sports that has distanced the media from the players. So I just read a very interesting, I read a long time ago, you must read this book called The Accidental Sports Writer by Robert Lipsyte, an American guy, who said that the difference happened, and he was talking about the time when television began in the US, when the same thing that the sports stars began to distance themselves. He said when the player and the journalist started to have two different economic backgrounds, otherwise they were regular guys for Lipsyte. Yeah? They were regular guys who had jobs, they were semi-pros. Right. And the moment that changed, then it's like your whole environment and your equation and everything changed.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. So, and he's talking about that whole time. He said, so sports writers didn't know what to do. And every sports writer in the US who's written a book says, I didn't love sports. I said, what? What is the meaning of this? And because you're a man, you got to do it. Yeah. Imagine if I didn't love sport, I would have got the chance to go be a sports writer. No. Then this is a little segue, but okay.
No,
yeah.
we're open to all segues. Yeah. So what did they love? Writing, I guess, I hope.
Telling stories.
Just telling stories.
Telling stories, And Robert Lipsyte hung out with Muhammad Ali and all kinds of mad stories, But again, that's a different time. And so you're seeing it reflected now. That the superstars and the reporters are just gone in two different directions. You're not worth that time.
Is that such a bad thing? Because like you mentioned, I think once when you were cycling, you passed out, were hospitalized, and then Sehwag called up your family to check on you. Sachin called you. Obviously there was a level of camaraderie. There was a relationship. At least there was some access that you had to players. You've said that in the era of Ganguly, the coach and captain used to call journalists for just tea and just have a chat. There used to be some effort to keep a relationship. Kohli and Shastri did it once.
They did it once in 2015 because they had a media manager who said this is important. And when they had this captain in that World Cup where they called all of us in 2003, they said come to this place, no recorders, no cameras, no notes, and the whole team is going to be there, and you can
just chat.
Just chat. Yeah. And I'm thinking now, would they do it? Because the players will just be bored. They'll say, why? We don't want to do this, And I speak to people who handle the men's IPL and the women's IPL teams as well. And they say it's such a joy handling the women. Because it's just easier. The guys are just so much trouble. They're just so big ego and, and their bichara social media team is following them, trying to get these things. And because that's what they have to do. They're these kids whose job it is to follow you around. Because you are creating content and the guys showing you the finger and big names are doing this and all. And they feel so shit. They feel so terrible. And the women's team, again, the environment is very different, But who knows if they become superstars? Who knows?
I'm watching closely. But
we are all watching.
Maybe this is me trying to find a silver lining, but is there a benefit to this? Because
there is.
In the movie Munna Bhai MBBS, Dr. Asthana says कि 25 साल से इस हाथ ने हजारों ऑपरेशन किए पर ये हाथ कभी कापा नहीं. जिस दिन अपनी बेटी का ऑपरेशन करूंगा उस दिन ये हाथ कापेगा. So if you have close friendships with these cricketers, maybe as a journalist as well, आपका हाथ कापेगा ना, you will also hesitate to write something very critical, or you won't be as brutal as you're supposed to be. Right?
That's a very reasonable thing to say, and I think it is an advantage because it makes you in some ways it's an advantage if you have the bosses who understand what you're doing. If you have bosses who tell you no, you have to go and get a picture of him in his gym in his new clothes or whatever, or you have to get him to tell you what he thinks about whatever, then you're dead, then what do you do? If your bosses have that same mentality of the 1980s with cricket and say that it's going to happen in 2025, you're in big trouble. All they want is quotes. All they want is story from Twitter feed after Twitter feed, uska response and all. That's not a story. Yeah. It's good in a way. That's why I said so many times that I'm the outsider. So that helped me in a way because I wasn't that buddy with anybody of them. I mean, I was friendly, but I'm not that close to anyone. I have friends. I have a couple of friends, more than a couple of friends in that who I can call up. But it's not like I hung out and You know, that whole kind of thing that is there sometimes, that I wasn't part of their posse or their entourage, where these guys had these guys hanging around them all the time. I wasn't that. So it helped you to be a little bit neutral. So you got into a little bit jagda ho gaya tha, and then they come out of it. It takes some time. It's fine. Then they come out of it, and then they see, oh, you're hammering this one also, you're hammering this one also. It's okay.
Oh, so it's not just me. This person. It's just sabke liye aise.
Yeah. But in a way, it's an advantage. But people don't do it now more because then the other thing that has happened is that these media organizations hold events, and at these events you have to call people to make the sponsors pay you, support your event. And how will you call people whom you have just hammered them in some article saying that they should be dropped? They should be dropped as captain. They are not. I mean, not in a mean way, but in a factual way. You know, their average for the last 5 years is Falana. Why are they still playing? You know, all those kind of things. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So then there's not journalism anymore. You know, it's something else. What has it become? You don't know. You know, and why are you then the journalist becomes the PR manager almost in a way, which is not right in a way. But they do it because they need their jobs. They need to be still earning a living. They say, ठीक है यार, वो principal रहने दो. EMI भरना है मेरे को, क्या करूँगा मैं?
Yeah, in a way, I feel the perception of the power of sports journalism is fading. And in fact,
there is no power in sports journalism anymore.
I think earlier there was, because you could at least have held them accountable to a certain extent. Now you, like you mentioned, mainly just articles or let's say content that's glorifying the players. It's so hard to just speak out about a player who's doing bad. Like you can't even just say, okay, this person is not in form. We should be dropped.
And you see the same thing happening in cricket commentary. That was the most, to me, that became like
my pet peeve. 1 ghanta we can spend on cricket commentary, we can spend.
A starting point. Somebody gets hit on the chest and the ball falls, is sharp catch. Boss, how is that dropping a sharp catch? If it's hit you on the chest and falling down, it's not a sharp catch.
Most people fail to realize that these channels, websites, media publications is how maybe 90% of the people consume cricket, right?
Yes.
Nobody has a time to actually sit and watch all days of a test match. Mostly you're checking the score on your phone. Yeah, kaam pe at a browser when the manager's not looking, you switch back and forth, right? The power of the storytellers or the medium actually is so much higher. But nowadays it's just somehow it's fading or
it's fading because people don't have the patience to read that, or they're looking for something else they want to read. They're looking for different kind of a story. So you get a lot of technical analysis nowadays, a lot in cricket particularly, that some people are very good at doing.
The numbers and
which, the data is. So there's a great, Anil Kumble used to, I can't remember, where did he come out with this? He said it somewhere. I don't know whether he wrote it in a column. I've quoted it endlessly.
Anil Kumble, you've quoted all the time.
All the time. Because he's a really smart guy, really sharp as like a tack. So he said, data is not information is not knowledge, and knowledge is not wisdom. And it's a quote that he's borrowed from
Anil Kumble.
Yeah, no, I think he found that quote somewhere, and he said, and that makes so much sense. He says, data is not information, it's just numbers, you know. And information is not knowledge, it's just information. And knowledge is not wisdom. It's like whatever. So I've never forgotten that. I forget things very fast, but that I've never forgotten. It's some economist or something. You'll find the original person who has said it, but to me, Anil Kumble has said it.
Now it's Anil Kumble. Anil Kumble is economist.
It's Anil Kumble, the Nobel Prize winning economist Anil Kumble. So there's many ways the great thing is there's many ways to write a cricket story or a story. Do you want to be entertaining or do you want to show off your knowledge? That is also my other question I ask people. If you want to show off your knowledge, do it in a way that will dazzle and not bore, is my humble request. Or inform and not berate, you know. And always make the last phone call. Because what happens is a lot of people come out of, say, journalism school or classes and they all want to be writers. Because writers means you're sitting on your desk and you're writing your thoughts. They don't want to be journalists, which means picking up the phone, or reporters, picking up the phone, calling people, getting more information, doing whatever. You don't want to do that because it seems as thoda ganda type of work that you're doing. Kya hai ye, phone kar rahe ho? You know, that kind of. So you won't get more information by not making a phone call. You won't get more of a perspective by not making a phone call. And no matter what we say and how much we know and how much data we can produce, we don't know what it's like to be out there in the middle, even if we are the smartest sort of. We don't know what's going on in the batsman's head, his legs, batter, legs, feet. We don't know. We don't know what it feels like in that sense. So a little bit of humility is also a good thing, according to me.
While we're talking about the power of sports journalism, one of the big roles that they had performed in the past was keeping not just the sport accountable, but also the administrators accountable. Let's talk about the role of politics in cricket. In your Wisden article, Modi Operandi, the politicization of Indian cricket, you pointed out the growing influence of politics in cricket and also how the ruling parties use cricket as a medium for propaganda now. And there are so many examples. Every time there's an India-Pakistan match, it becomes a jingoistic, performative affair. In the 2023 World Cup, Pakistan team wasn't given visas on time. They couldn't come and practice. Journalists, fans were not given visas. They even proposed that India wears an all-orange jersey during that match.
Which everyone said, no, it's not true. Of course it's true. Don't be delusional.
Even the most recent Asia Cup, they want to play the match for sure because the money is great, but then we won't shake hands, we won't collect the trophy. Now the center of cricket in India has been arbitrarily moved to Ahmedabad, the largest cricket stadium named after an incumbent prime minister, which has never happened, where the teams are not even allowed to warm up during a test match because the prime minister wants to take a round in the chariot.
During a test match, to factually get that right, during a single test match, this happened. This happened.
And he's gone around in a chariot waving at the crowd, so the team has to practice at the indoor facility. Now, to be fair, you've said that politics has always been a part of sport in cricket. But what I want to gauge from you, because you've studied for so many decades, is this now a very unique time, or this is how it's always been?
No, this is a very unique time because I feel cricket has been weaponized in that sense. It's been turned into this instrument of state, of the state, the government, the current government, a political party, the ideology of that political party, and it's policy. So, in that same Wisden story, I quote Shyam Meera Singh, who's a YouTuber.
A non-Anil Kumble quote? How does that feel?
So, Shyam Meera Singh is a YouTuber. He just gave the most brilliant assessment of what had happened. He says the BCCI has just become a party unit of the BJP, which makes everything after that makes sense. Everything that's happened, So that's been the big change. So they always had people on all sides in the government never told you what to do. You actually pushed back against the government. There is a book in Amrit Mathur's book. Amrit Mathur was administrator, long-time manager for the Indian team, all of those things. He remembers that in 2004, he was sitting opposite Jagmohan Dalmia when they were about to go to the Pakistan tour, and he got a phone call from Delhi from a minister. And the minister said, please cancel the tour. So Dalmia told him, sir, I am the president of the BCCI and I want the cricket to happen. You are falane of the government. And you don't want the cricket to happen, you stop it. Then we won't go. You're the government. I want to go. And he put the phone down. This will never happen now. No chance. And I will tell you after this who that person was, but not on record.
Okay, that's
So that there was always pushback about the whole sort of cricket, whatever. And whatever Mr. Dalmia's flaws were, he was obstinately always pushing to globalize cricket, which has now become a trendy thing. He wanted smaller countries to play, which has now become a trendy thing. Whatever the eventual outcome was, even Malcolm Speed, with whom he fought incessantly, says that he always was fighting for cricket at some end. His own little patch of cricket, but he was fighting for the sport, not for the sport. Not to try and run them into the ground or whatever.
Is the difference that politics existed back then, the pressure was there back then, but it was stronger people on this side who were able to resist it. That's the difference.
Yes, who were able to say that. And now, given that Indian cricket has so much money, it should be stronger, but it's acting like it's weaker, like it has no. Why, for example, did not the coach and the captain in that Asia Cup tell whoever instructed them, I've still not found out who that person is, I'm trying to find out, that, boss, you cannot put pressure on the team like this by saying don't shake hands. It's just unnecessary. For what reason? And if they'd gone about it normally, you think the Pakistan team would have played how they played in the next two matches? They switched on because of you. You could have just sat down quietly and said, "Chalne do." They would have quietly. You are a stronger team for sure. You would have beaten them easily.
The first match was
totally flat, and then they were up and revving and running. They just you are the people, by not shaking their hands, you just lit the fire under their chair. So why did you as captain and coach not push back and say, you cannot put pressure on our players like this? You could have pushed back and said, it's on us, hum baad mein jawab denge, aap mat karo ye. But it didn't happen.
Have they reached a stage where they're not in a position to say no? If they say no, then they would be removed from their position?
I mean, I don't know whether they'll be removed from the position, but they may not. They'll say that is the reason that you will get. That seems to be the most plausible reason. that if you don't say no, if you don't push back, I mean, if you push back, you're in trouble. That's the only reason that it seems that they've run out of that space also, because they've kept sort of ceding that space. I mean, there's nobody in the board who's going to protect them for sure. The captain or the coach, had they done it, nobody in the cricket board, because the cricket board is also there, whatever.
Arguably, the only two people who were probably stronger than the board were Virat and Rohit, and both have now been in a way sliding out.
I mean, their careers are reaching an end and all the rest of it, So I do know that they did push back against that all orange
jersey,
whatever the reason, many versions of the thing are there in the story, but they did push back, and in some way, in a smart way, they didn't. Whatever.
You don't have to insult someone. Just say, we're not comfortable.
They're saying, no, they're like, but this is like Holland. Yeah. You are doing bleed blue. How the fans all the fans are wearing blue, we'll be wearing different color shirt. What is this? So whatever reasons were given at that time, they said, no, it's not going to happen. And and now you have what has happened is that there is no, I'm trying to think of this without getting into shit trouble. Say this without getting into and or say something unfair, to any of the players or whatever. It's not, I mean, I don't want to be in their position. It's just terrible. Because everybody in cricket after that, barring the social media enthusiasts and who are all screaming blue murder all the time, they felt so bad that happened because it felt so crap. It just to them as athletes felt wrong. Even those players who may be supporting the ruling party, maybe their voters, maybe their members, whatever, as cricketers, they said that is not what you do on a field. That is not how you play. They all felt bad about it. They felt terrible. They did not like what they had to do.
There are two avenues we can explore. One is power and one is money, given the influence of politics. And when we talk about sports administration, when we talk about the Bollywoodization of cricket, we also spoke about money. In Ghachar Ghochar, Vivek Shanbag says, it's true what they say.
It is such a great line. I love it.
It's true what they say. It's not we who control money. It's the money that controls us. When there's only a little, it behaves meekly. When it grows, it becomes
quietly
brash
in your pocket.
and has its way with us. In the documentary Death of a Gentleman, Gideon Haigh says, does cricket exist to make money or does it make money to exist? And I feel this is a very important question because it sets a tone at the top. And also, I think even the players are confused about what is the purpose of cricket. Many times the players will come and say, oh yeah, this is all for the fans, this is all for entertainment, they're the reason why we are here. But do you think cricket goes deeper than that? Even if no one's watching, it's not making that much money. It's a form of art that just deserves to be expressed. There's a reason why we play cricket. And that shouldn't be that it should just make the most amount of money.
I'm, of course, belonging to old school that will say cricket exists to be for it to use money to support it and to make it grow and not
just to support the art itself.
Monetarily grow, just to grow. Tell me what would happen if India stopped playing cricket tomorrow. If IPL and all stopped tomorrow. The game would be financially weaker, but would it shut down?
No.
It would be financially weaker for a lot of people, but some people may opt to take other careers, but people will still play. In the countries where it's played for a long time, including South Asia, where we have made our own language and our own vocabulary of cricket and our own way of playing it. We've taken in parts of in England and Australia particularly, it's so regimented and seasonal and fixed. And here cricket is everywhere. It's like water. It's like be like water. It is being played in anywhere. It's like doing its Bruce Lee number everywhere it wants to be played, So we've made, how can we let that go? How can we let that go because of whatever? And India's role in making cricket a wealthier sport, you cannot deny. Absolutely cannot deny. But also, it should come with a certain, what is that ghastly Superman, Spider-Man line? It should also come with a certain...
With great power comes great responsibility.
Which is so trite, but it is like so easy to use at this time, I went to watch the Men's World Volleyball Championships as the guest of the International Federation in Philippines. And it was fabulous. And it was run superbly. And it was mad and the crowd was great. One of the things I found out is that the Volleyball Federation has something called an empowerment program or fund or whatever. And they reached out to all the small, they sent a message out. They don't have like $1 billion media rights or anything, they're normal. So they said, whoever needs help in coaching support, technical advice, whatever other areas to spread the game, you need to write to us and we'll see if we can help you. And they did. And they have a dashboard on their website which shows who got what help, and they help XYZ countries. So in that World Cup, they had their men's and women's World Cup within 3 weeks of each other. in those 3 weeks, in the Women's World Cup, which was held in Bangkok, they had whoever qualified for the round of 16 and knockouts. Out of those 16 countries that qualified for the round of 16, 7 of them were empowerment countries. And in the men's, 8 out of the 16 were those empowerment countries that sent back Olympic champions France, the great heroes, Brazil, knocked off the Japanese. And everyone was so surprised. Oh my God, what's happening? And these guys are saying, look, this is what we've been preparing for. We want the sport to spread more evenly across the world. And we want there to be this kind of, that's how we spend the money. That's how we spend our money. What has the ICC done about revenue distribution is the most bizarre thing. So that's an unfair revenue distribution. And it's a short-sighted, me first kind of revenue distribution that is there. With that, all that money that you're getting from various TV rights and all of it. So look at it, never mind. So I told this to someone in cricket who said, yeah, but this is a small sport. I said, boss, volleyball is played in more countries than cricket. It's small in terms of its bank balance. It's not small in terms of its reach, So, but at the same time, then look at the countries that have played cricket and push something in it. With the West Indies, with Zimbabwe, do it with Sri Lanka, New Zealand. Just make sure that that's at least thriving or something like that. Try and make sure that your contests are as even as they be. Cricket is a different sport. It's difficult to teach. It's difficult to learn. Tougher than, say, volleyball, for sure. But come on, you got all these brilliant minds. Find a way, man. I'm sure you can.
Mike Marcuse had pointed out that the seeds for India's hegemony or the dominance of world cricket were planted in the 1996 World Cup. And if anyone likes data and numbers, they can start seeing the trend line for the decline of cricket has already started since then. Anil Kumble, I'll give you a quote, had said in his Pataudi memorial speech that India is now clearly in the front seat and they need to wear leadership lightly. And he had given examples of the British Empire, the Roman Empire. He said there's a cyclical nature to these empires. So India has to be careful. And I really feel there's some serious karma coming for Indian cricket at some point because there's some form of
I don't know, in this world, there is no karma for anything. Yeah, please. I don't think.
I'm already seeing a disintegration of cricket and usually it creeps under the door, doesn't come knocking in a sense that
the women have just won the World Cup. There is going to be absolute madness around women's cricket. Mumbai Cricket Association, my friend sent me a glimpse yesterday. They had started putting out women's talent hunt things before the World Cup final. It's out. We want under 16, under 12, falana. There. I mean, I'll show it to you. It's mad. So what you're saying there's going to be a stoppage? Look at the NFL and all these things. They just become like these giants doing all wrong things, but they're surviving.
Women's cricket is the different point of that market cycle. No? Let's say the men's cricket,
Sure. I agree.
I'll put myself in the shoes of a player who doesn't belong to the big three. What would be the motivation for me to play a World Cup? Many players are, by the way, giving up national contracts for Sri Lanka, West Indies, New Zealand, South Africa.
2020 franchise cricket.
Yeah, for franchise cricket. What's the motivation? Because even if I want to represent my country at the World Cup, which I've grown up watching, it's so blatantly rigged these days.
It's rigged in how, yaar? Oh, you're saying India, Pakistan and those...
2023 World Cup.
Rigged, you're saying fixed and all.
India's match in Chennai is at a slow track to neutralize Australia's fast bowling. India's match against Bangladesh to neutralize the spin attack. Semi-final pitch changes at the last minute. Mohammad Kaif has said every day at the final, he went down and he saw the coach and the curator and the captain talk and the pitches changed color.
Yeah.
Obviously that backfired. That's a microcosm how it's backfiring. But the bigger cycle movement would be...
But coaches do this all over the world. Let me inform. But if they can, they do it.
बाकी लोग गलत कर रहे हैं तो इसका ये मतलब I hold Rahul Dravid to a higher standard.
वो तो है. That is, you have a fair point.
But I think if you keep holding power, influence, money within the big three, you will see there'll be no teams left to play with. There'll be no players.
Because then they'll say, boss, we'll have 2020 cricket. We'll play IPL full year. There are people who are enthusiastic about IPL, no? Full year we'll play IPL.
But that's destroying cricket as we know it and love it also.
Yeah. But they'll just keep talking. They'll say, we'll only play. Who wants to play Papua New Guinea? As was there in some quotes that they gave. I want to see Papua New Guinea play against us at some point. So I'm saying look everywhere and see what other sports are doing. Because everyone is trying to push and to become bigger and to expand and to grow. And here you're sitting on this absolute truckloads of money and you're just thinking, okay, we'll make more money. So and it's looking, like you're saying, it's looking fatal. But it's looking fatal. You are thinking that everything is going to end. I'm thinking everything is going to reach a point where there will just be franchise cricket one after the other.
That is the end. That's the definition of the end. End of national cricket as I know it.
Country versus country. Nation versus nation. Yeah.
Which is a good or bad thing because we've come a long way from that ODI in 86 in Motera where in your 6 down, Ravi Shastri is saving the innings with Madan Lal, and only one person in the entire grandstand is waving a flag pinned to a TV antenna, and that's you.
Yeah.
Now, nationalism is, in a way, patriotism, jingoism. Cricket is like the primary outlet for it, right? So maybe it's not a bad thing we go to franchise cricket.
You have to see how that sounds like it's you move to franchise cricket, but there will still be a certain hyper masculine kind of push around it then all the time. You know,
But
my
not
country,
linked to a
my
nation,
franchise.
at
Not
least.
linked to nation, that's fine. No, but we are the greatest, we are the best, it is like American baseball, NFL, whatever. The same, more of the same. What about the smaller countries? What will they do? They'll only play franchise cricket. They won't have their own national teams. Test cricket will end. It will not end. Australia and England will not allow it to end. Because Ashes is their thing. They might be the last country left playing test cricket ever.
Yeah, possible.
Yeah. Which is good. I mean, in a way, because otherwise, what are we going to do without test cricket? We saw what happened when we went to England and played test matches. And everyone is just like enraptured and whatever. And out of a clear blue sky, when nobody expected the Indians to do well, they did well.
Yeah, beyond the big three, I feel it's already suffering.
Oh, massively. Because there's no need for them to play. The schedule and the calendars are so weird. Because at the ICC, the people who are supposed to go to the ICC are supposed to be there to represent the larger thing called cricket. They're not supposed to go there and fight for their own board. That's what they do. That's how you're seeing everything go. And to me, as much as whatever India's actions are, to me, Australia and England's capitulation in the face of this bullying and to allow themselves to become part of the bully. You know, you always have the bully
Instead
and then
of
you have
fighting,
the...
they're like, no, include us.
Yeah,
and now
include
we're
us
fine.
also. We'll also
Baaki
get
sab
fine.
hata do.
You know, you have this gangster type and then he's got two people on his side, those conciliary type people that are there. Not conciliary, the wrong expression.
The Godfather analogy works.
Yeah. So he's got these two henchmen. They always are there a little bit either. Why do you want to be a henchman, boss? Stand up and fight. No.
Okay, I'll let the Australian board know. I'll send they're watching. I'll send that message to them. You brought up women's cricket, so let's cover that as well. Many people are comparing this World Cup victory to 1983 and considering a landmark movement. And what I'm interested to know is how important is the actual result of the match? Let's say in a hypothetical scenario.
Very
important.
I feel maximum is that. Because had they lost, they would have been shat on from a great height. After all cricket won and we are happy and you are a ladki and you know that whole thing that cricket was the winner and all that, they would have had a really tough time. And they know it also.
But like how these larger motions, let's say hypothetically last over tak we go and then Nadine de Klerk, let's say, wins it for South Africa.
Not happening.
By then, you've already got the nation invested in the sport. You've seen the quality of cricket and you've got fans now. So
But you don't
does the actual
have
trophy matter?
The trophy matters like I cannot
Why?
even tell you. Because it's now not the one country in which, first of all, I was doing a little this to find out how many World Cups has an Indian women's team won. Other than, I'm not talking about chess, I'm talking about, physical sort of sport. Only in Kabaddi is the only other women's World Cup that in a team sport that an Indian team has won. Only. And then there's this in the biggest sport that there is, like in our country. Had they not won, they would be called losers, chokers. Itna der hai tumko, and still you are playing like this. You know that you are beholden to us to produce this result. It matters massively. It would have been, girls would have immediately come and played cricket and all the rest of it. But the power that the women cricketers are generating, because they have the only, so I said they're 26 times there have been World Cups, men's and women's, across from 1973 onwards. And 23 times, India's only won 3 times. 83, 2011 and 2025. So that to have that power is like alag cheez. Yeah, it's very important. I mean, matters for everything. Matters for public, because for the girls to be seen winning in a way. So when the Indian women were playing, hockey team were playing the semi-final of the Olympics, so many of us said, please let the women win. If we have to get only one medal from this, let it be a women's medal. It was the men were very happy because there's a history and legacy and they carry it around for their whole life. Yeah. But so it matters. Of course, trophies matter, because the trophy that started my interest in cricket mattered. And it kicked off this whole, can you imagine kids all over the country, girls all over the good country saying, this is what I want to play. जीत गए ना, रोना धोना तो नहीं होना बाद में, होगा रोना धोना, but another happiness का. Yeah. So is that. So it matters massively. And because also, so fans would have felt terrible, but that whole social pressure that there is on women athletes to be everything more than that, and So someone wrote a really interesting piece in the News Laundry about it. Anand Vardhan, I think his name is, if I've got the name right. So he said, what will happen now? So normally people look at male cricketers and say he's so handsome and whatever. Suppose you start saying that about women, will people get offended and say that this is you're objectifying them? And it was a nice piece. I read it and I said, interesting. Let's see when it'll happen and whatever. And who's going to say it? Is it going to be written? Who writes? Men will write, women will write, whatever, all that. Then this is yours. Then at the end, he said, if we move away from the gender gaze, at that point, I wanted to say, for women, you can never move away from the gender gaze, because that when you step out of your house, you are in that gender gaze. Your gender. Men don't think about it. Men think it's normal. You step out of the house, it's fine. No, a woman's life outside the house, or even in the house, but a woman's life in the public sphere is very different to a man's life in the public sphere. No matter who you are, where you come from, what your class is, what your background is, that's an experience that if you cannot even imagine what it is like, then don't say move away from the gender gaze, because the gender gaze is never gone. It's always there.
You're right. When, let's say, I want to call a carpenter home or someone plumber has to come home, you just call it. But I remember a friend was telling me that every single act I have to be cognizant of, okay, am I going to be alone in the house with some random stranger? I'll keep the door open.
Yeah.
When I'm walking on the street, what time I have to get? Whereas I just go from one place to another.
Exactly.
I have to go home.
You want to go out at 3 o'clock in the morning for a walk, you'll go.
Yeah.
I want to go, but I think I'll be stupid to go. So for that as well. So for women to have that emphatic result was massive. For the men to have it in 83 was massive, because India at that time was a country that everyone said, anyway, you cannot play, you're going to lose, you're playing the West Indies, the strongest team in the. So that mattered in that sense.
At that point, the delta mattered. Like, for example, if the women's team had won in the early 2000s or even won in 2017, I think that delta between how much recognition the sport was getting and that victory would have mattered. But let's say if India, like the men's team would have won in 2023, wouldn't have really affected the sport as much, right? It would have just been business as usual.
Yeah.
So then the trophy doesn't matter, because I've grown up in an era where we have lost all the finals. Like 2003 World Cup is my scarring trauma.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I get dreams about it when I cover.
I was there. I don't remember anything after I pretend not to remember anything after the national anthems. Yeah, I was at the ground. Trauma.
I was at the 2023 World Cup final. So I've seen this entire chain, from 2003 to 2023, 20 years of losing.
The emotional change you have seen in that sense.
But in a way, that gets me more invested in the sport, right? Because the underdog chasing, I guess, not that India
How
is the underdog.
are we underdog, boss?
Not the underdog, but at least, the fight towards the championship is more interesting in wrestling terms, in pro wrestling. Often that's the case, right? Once you become a champion, now you've lost my interest, right? In a way, the fight towards is when you got me invested. But you're saying this championship is important.
Massive.
How do you think it's going to affect?
I think it's going to be a big thing for the sport. And I told you, the Mumbai Cricket Association has that already, a women's talent hunt, it's called. That's it. And it's some 3 age groups are there in it already. And it's happening now. As we speak, in some corner of the city, it's taking place. There's that. And now people, and it's not Mumbai, it'll be everywhere. Every cricket association, every coach, everyone that's interested. So there's a piece that Shruti Ravindranath wrote in Cricinfo, you must read, about this, saying that, quoting someone, a guy who runs an academy called Female Cricket in Mumbai. He said he got 200 calls. He gets 200 calls a day now, including one man saying, my wife wants to learn cricket. He says, boss, this is an age group thing. It's like we're trying to not your wife.
Okay, Praveen Tambe can do it. Anyone can do it.
So that's what will happen. It'll be that massive ripple effect that's there. It'll affect, I think, also in the way how the market sees the sport and where they can find their space and way. So in a business sense, they're normally
money flowing in.
Money flowing and towards the women's game, which is a more affordable marketing sort of tool in that sense. And also what's going to happen in other sports, all girls are going to say, let me play cricket. There's a WPL and there is the national team.
Career choice now.
It's a career choice where I don't have to only be sitting in a camp all day. So why are you not going to go? Someone I know is going to do a story on this. So whenever this is coming out, the story will already be out.
Okay, no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. The best athletes in every sport, in every school are going to say, I want to play cricket. Maybe not all. I'm just giving a majority kind of a response. But that seems that's the way it's going to go.
It's an option at least.
It's like the cycle has started. The wheel has turned.
Bulb
And
jalne laga hai.
wheel has turned, and now all good athletes are going to see. And the thing about cricket is all body types. You can be short, tall, thin, not so thin, but if your skills are great, if you have great hand-eye coordination, if you've got basic good reflexes, whatever,
There's a role you can play.
there's a role you can play in the sport. And you can play it in 2020 cricket. You can play it, which is the most marketable version. You're seeing there's thousands of videos and instructional things on YouTube for you to see and read. So what started with Zahir Khan practicing his bowling in front of his cupboard mirror, copying Wasim Akram, left-hander, left-arm bowler, will now replicate itself across the countries, across so many millions of girls.
This is very positive. I hope it continues. Before we go into the closing questions, I would love to know ये क्या masterpiece बनाया आपने लेवल के साथ?
I know. So once you're quite clever because you're more smart. You started it, then because I was sitting respectfully, then I said no. Now, so I'm trying to make something. I want to use up all the Lego things, but I'm quite far from it.
Ambitious.
I think I don't know how to keep this thing going. It's a
है
factory.
क्या? Factory.
I don't know. I'm just adding things as I go along. Sort of. Yeah. See, I've not figured it out yet. If I do it once again, it'll be complete and beautiful. Currently, it is a bit shambolic.
Okay, guys, everyone look
It
away.
looks
It's
like
work in progress.
neon, hai na, that Saudi Arabian city type.
That's what you're building.
No, not really.
And they are my sponsors. Product placement at its finest.
Good day. Yeah. See, I've actually figured out. See, this is quite nice.
If there's any money that I would accept on the show, it's Saudi money.
Yeah. Good for you.
What are some books, movies, role models that have strongly inspired you in your life? Recommendations to you.
Books. See, this becomes tough to do because you've read so much. And you've read
One,
like
let's say,
I think, I'll tell you what I really loved reading. I loved reading, which I remember to date. Of course, Mike Marcus's Anyone But England is like a completely brilliant book, which I absolutely have enjoyed. I've enjoyed Cricket Beyond the Bazaar, which is Mike Coward's account of the Association of India and Australia Cricket, which is fabulous at the time that it appeared. If I'm come up with no other book, this is going to be like disastrous.
Movies also.
Movies. You know, movies, my favorite. It's not a cricket movie; it's a sports movie. Mukkabaz. So if you want to know what Indian sport is about, that's the movie to see. That's the movie to see. And of course, Chak De was lovely and sweet and whatever, but that's the movie to see. Mukkabaz was just incredible.
Who was or is the greatest sports writer of all time?
I'm not a fan of saying sports writer in the sense of making it sound like it's some bahut like great thing and all. I'm more a fan of the journalists who is the greatest? Who do the ground. There's nobody's the greatest. Yeah, there are tons of people do tons of things.
One that you would recommend that would be a good person for me to study as an aspiring journalist.
It depends on what time or place you're seeing. Like I know, for example, someone has just written a story about in referring to how FIFA. So this is the problem with me because I'm interested in so many sports and all sports. I read lots of stuff. I tend to be a bit wary of US kind of influences in that sense because their sport is very different to ours. I read a very interesting story about someone has done went around, it's a reporter, like God bless reporters, we are so deep and we are so like kida, went around trying to find out from every single host city to show me how much money you're spending on the budget. And then they found that what those tax exemptions that FIFA keeps demanding from its World Cup hosts, which I know sounds completely nerdy and people are tuning off and all that, but it's just great reportage. What it's going to cost them. And cities refused. And this reporter went on and on and on and on. And he finally found out what the citizens of that city are going to pay, Vancouver, I think, are going to pay. So to me, that kind of thing is inspirational. And it just kind of gets me. I feel so happy that a journalist has done this and someone found this out, is calling out bullshit, you know. So I think when I started out, I really liked language and I liked all that stuff. Now I just call out bullshit all the time because there's so much bullshit going around in the world in this sports marketing and like it's just call out bullshit. I'm just happy. Doesn't matter about language. Just call it out, boss.
Print it on a t-shirt. Just call out bullshit. Just call out bullshit.
Just call out bullshit.
Who was or is the greatest cricketer of all time?
That depends on. So then you'll say batter or bowler.
Up to you.
Yeah,
you pick.
It's not like that.
All inclusive.
Greatest cricketer is so tough to call, yeah. See, as a Indian, I'll say Tendulkar. Then you'll say, no, why not Bradman? Then you'll get into that
I'm not saying anything.
I know. So yeah. I'll say Tendulkar because of what he did, what he achieved, and where he was of that time. But he wasn't a bowler. Then I'm thinking maybe Shane Warne. Then I'm thinking maybe Chandrasekhar. Then I'm thinking, so where do you... I'm not one for this. Is this a male thing trying to say who's the greatest and all that?
I don't know. I mean, I can only speak from the male
No,
gaze.
so exactly. So many times they're going to say, people having arguments on, yeah, this is your favorite, this is my favorite, live with it. I don't have to agree.
तुम्हारा क्या है? वही तो
I don't think of it as one. How can a sport where there are 11 people who have 3 separate skills, then you say Gary Sobers, who I never saw play.
Or Jack Carlis, they make a strong case for, right?
Who I never saw play. I mean, between Gary Sobers and Jack Carlis, I'll say Gary Sobers because the idea of a West Indian player of that time, and that whole West Indies ka aura and everything like that. I'll say, okay, Jack Carlis. But, so it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing for me to call out like that. Are people very confident when they say who is their favorite cricketer? Must be.
There's a different debate about who is the greatest universally, where you have to come to an agreement. And there's a different debate about, okay, who's your favorite cricketer? No. Who's appealed to you the most, and you can...
appeal to me the most. I'll watch VVS Lakshman bat any day. All the time. Yeah. But he's a batter only. And I'm very sympathetic to bowlers. I'm very sympathetic to bowlers. I feel bowlers don't get enough mileage. And that's another, they don't get that much... what is that phrase you use? They don't get...
coverage, whatever.
I mean, like glory. There's no mythologizing of them as much as there is of batters, in that sense.
Yeah,
so,
not many people just pick Ashok Dinda as their...
whoever. I mean, like whoever. Ashish Nehra. Yeah. So it's that. That's what I think.
Ashish Nehra is the king. I remember
is a king.
I went to bed and when we were losing a match, and then when I woke up, he had taken 6 for 23. And
that you had to sleep during the...
I was a kid, no school. Next day school hai. Tum thodi na match dekh sakte ho. South Africa mein it's happening. How do you stay up at night and convince your parents?
That was a great... That was
4th or 5th
great
grade, I mean.
match. Great match.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, India to haar gaya.
Vomiting on the giant screen bananas. Right? In Durban.
Yeah. Just the next day, all the papers had a
Yeah.
celebration. Ashish Nehra is the king in my books. Okay, another tough question for you.
Oh God, I hate this.
It's only getting tougher and tougher as you go. You were in the stadium when Yuvraj Singh hit 6 sixes in Durban, and you've said for a moment it felt like he owned the place. He had an aura around him. I'm curious to know, apart from that moment, was there any moment you watched in the field where you felt like this is out of this world? I'm watching something surreal, something transcendental, something weird is happening today.
Something weird is happening today.
Or like something out of this. Yeah.
Not in a cricket stadium or in any stadium.
Okay, let's put any.
Usain Bolt winning 800 meters winning 100 meters in Beijing 2008.
You were there.
I was there like where that stand is. He was there. I was here.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you get that feeling then?
No, actually not before Usain Bolt, because Usain Bolt is like, I went to 2 Olympics. There was one in 2004 in Athens. What happens is that in the past, I don't believe it's there anymore. The athletes, the main stadium, massive press area. Everyone sitting on desk. If you don't need a desk, you could go and sit down in the, like literally on eye level of the track. That was like a spillover for photographers who didn't have space. But there was nobody there, so I was sitting there. And the 100 meters started, and there was all this American. And there's a Chinese guy called Liu Jiang who came bursting through from the sidelines, and he won the 110 meter hurdles. And there were Chinese reporters behind me losing it like completely. I still remember that same moment because it just felt like something massive had happened because a Chinese man had won a sprint event.
Right.
So that was in Athens. And next time then it was Bolt who turns around and like does this and looks in the direction. I'm sitting there like, not looking at me, but he looks there and he does.
It was for you.
Yeah, it was for me. And he does his thing. So that for sure that. Then in cricket, I saw Tendulkar's that 4 that he hit off, that 6 that he hit off Shoaib Akhtar in Cape Town, in Centurion, in that match. And I was sitting next to Sandeep Dwivedi of the Indian Express, with whom I had covered a lot of tennis in Ahmedabad. And he just looks at me and he says, even Mandela does not have a seat like this. I said, yeah, correct. We were literally sitting on top of over the bowlers. So Shoaib was running in at us. Yeah.
Bird's eye view.
Bird's eye. It was just absolutely brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I remember that for sure. The problem is, if you're a journalist and you're watching Transcendental Movement, you can't register it because you're too busy working. Your working brain is on.
Right.
Your working brain is on the whole time. So my working brain was not on when Usain Bolt and that Liu Jiang were there. I was watching, I was just like a spectator, So my working brain was not on in that sense. When your working brain is on, then you just say, observe, take whatever you can. Just
what
like,
will help me?
Yeah.
indulging?
In a slightly this thing. So you don't get that sort of swept up in that sense, you know. Yeah, but I've seen a lot of great. I've been really lucky to see a lot of great stuff.
Okay, well, flex. What would you like your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
Legacy sounds. I mean, I just want. Oh God, I don't even think about it. I just want the place to be filled with women sports reporters kicking everybody's ass.
You have definitely paved the way for that. I think when someone asked you once which tribe you belong to, you said difficult.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
just-
He said, "What are you?" He asked
What
me,
are you?
"What
What
are
are
you?"
you?
I said, "Difficult."
And then I'm just happy that in the spectrum of Azad Parinda to Pagal Kutta, this is your words.
Yes.
You have created so many pieces that have helped immortalize the sport that we all love. In the same way, like Wally Hammond has done for Amar Singh when he said he
Oh
came off
my
the pitch
God.
like the cracks of doom.
That is so complimentary.
So you
I'm
have
so
a
pleased.
rich legacy in this field. Final question. We spoke about how you've been exposed to a lot of romanticism in writing. The British writers.
Mythologization, yes.
Yeah, the British writers used to put a lot of poetry in the writing, or the bowler's hair used to move like the wind on the leaves behind them. And then you spoke about the first two paragraphs where people used to talk about birds and bees, then they get to the point. So since you've been exposed to so much romanticism, poetry, lyricism in cricket, I'm curious whether it's given you a head start in figuring out the purpose of all of this. What is the meaning of life, Sharda Ugra?
Oh my God. What is the meaning of life? As a cricket watcher or cricket fan, or just like a liver of
General.
life?
Yeah, liver of
General.
life.
Oh my God. How do you answer that question? I think the meaning of life is to just find a way to be content. Content is to me the most important. Content.
How do you find that?
I don't have answers. Make friends. Have lots of friends.
Meaning of life is to make friends. You know what? Always a winning
So
strategy.
bad. So bad. Such a lallu answer.
Often it's the simplest things that
Yeah.
give the most meaning, right?
Yeah. Don't be mean. Meaning of life is don't be mean to people.
Okay, there's another. Okay. So
Sorry.
make friends, don't be mean.
It sounds so bad.
Bye.
It sounds like ghastly. Yeah.
Don't be mean and make friends. I think both are winning formulas. Sharda, if people wish to connect with you, find out more about you, read your work, what is the best way to find you, connect with you?
See, I'm not on social media because whatever. Best way to connect with me is to locate my email address, which is not too hard to find. Yeah. I'm not giving it
And how to
out
read
here.
your work, how to find it.
Go to Hindustan Times, Google. Yeah, Google. Everyone says do Substack, do YouTube channel. I said yeah. I don't know. I have only so much to say. Recently I heard Dale Steyn say the most important words to Rana Kapoor during cricket
Dale
info.
Steyn?
Dale Steyn. Yeah. See bowlers again. So say that. He said there's only so many things I can say about a cricket match. Why he didn't do non-stop commentary and all. He told Ronak, he said there's only so many things I can say about cricket or about the match. I was like, yes. There's only so many things.
Well, everything you do say, it's great, and I'm glad you do it. Sharda, thank you so much for your time. This has been a great conversation with me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shalaj. This has been such fun. Thank you so much for all your work and research and all your fantastic and very difficult questions.
This is no time. If you like what you just watched or listened to, then do consider subscribing on YouTube, following on Spotify, or rate 5 stars in Apple Podcasts. This is now my full-time job for a year. And if I can't get this project up and running, I can't pay the bills with this project, then I'll have to shut shop because unfortunately, I'm not a trust fund baby. I cannot support this lifestyle. So if you think this project has value and deserves to continue, then please consider becoming a member on Patreon. You can join as a YouTube member. You can buy super thanks. You can buy gifts on Instagram Reels. Any contribution will keep this project running. If not through monetary channels, and do consider sharing these episodes, leaving your likes and comments. They all go a really long way. Shows of this nature are not algorithm friendly. It's not considered sexy content. It's not likely to go viral. But I really believe in the power of these stories that are never told, these conversations that are not had because they're not less likely to go viral. So if you really think these conversations are of value, these stories deserve to be told, then please consider sharing these episodes. It really helps push these videos past the barriers that are set by the algorithm and also past all this AI junk that's coming on YouTube these days. For other forms of love and support, you can follow this channel on Instagram or Twitter or follow me personally.